with your host, Ron Grant, the original Safer Money Specialist. Now let's go to the reverse mortgage specialist, Angela Wyckoff, with Mr. Ron Grant.
Good morning, Angela. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing very well. I didn't see my name in the obituaries today, so I know I'm okay.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. So if you haven't heard of Angela, well, Angela's a good friend of mine. Her and her husband, I've known them for over 20 years. They're classic car people like myself. And many months ago, I received some calls from current clients and some just people that are asking questions. And they asked me, what do I think about reverse mortgages? Because some of the people are house rich and cash poor. And I said, well, years ago they were terrible. And I used to own a mortgage company, for many years. I never did reverse mortgages, but I said, but today I understand that there's a lot of things that you have to do. You gotta take a class, you gotta learn all this stuff. And so I talked to Angela because that's what she does. She's very passionate about it. And I decided to have her on the show. So Angela, the first thing we want to talk about is, aren't reverse mortgages still bad?
Not any longer. So much has changed in the last 15 years. The SAFE Act was put into place in 2008. Independent counseling was required in 2012. HUD created safeguards on the equity in 2013. Non-borrowing spouses safeguards were put in place in 14. And then the financial assessment was put into place in 2015. So today's reverse mortgage is so much safer for the longevity of the equity for the heirs.
And that's important, because let's say I did take a reverse mortgage. Can I leave them? Can I leave any money in the house to my heirs, or is the bank going to take it from me?
So the bank doesn't want your home. Let's be honest. They do not need one more asset to try and sell off. So they would prefer that the remaining equity goes to your heirs. So when we have this conversation up front, we talk about how much is left for your heirs from the beginning. So if you're going to exceed the equity based off your life expectancy, or if there's going to be a nice chunk waiting for your heirs when you no longer need that house.
So I see a lot of 800 commercials, 800 number commercials on the radio, or on the TV, and I hear stuff on the radio. They're always talking about age 62 and up, but I understand you have also plans for people in their 50s.
Correct. So we have plans for people as young as age 55. And, it's just a way to get started on that retirement plan. Oftentimes we can set it up early so that when you do need rainy day funds in, the later years, it's available for you, and it grows at such a rapid rate, much better than any bank will give you.
So I also understand that you can do a purchase with a reverse mortgage.
Yes, I have several people actually purchasing with reverse mortgages right now. It allows you to not have to use all of your cash to buy your home. And it's such an amazing product. So you're going to have to put a significant amount down, but again, it's better than putting 100% down. And then you can actually overfund your purchase to build that line of credit so that years from now, there's tons of money in there waiting for you for when you need it.
Well, cash is king. You should always have cash. You should always, if you learn nothing else from the '08 Tabasco, you need to have something in there. You got to have cash.
Yeah, so don't use 100% to buy the home. Use the reverse mortgage and keep the rest of your cash liquid.
Right. With rates being so high right now, is now a good time to get a reverse mortgage?
It's actually an excellent time because the growth rate of your line of credit is going to start at a higher rate. So oftentimes when I'm reviewing this with clients, the line of credit can double in only 10 years. And that flies by. I mean, I know I blink and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, it does go by very quickly. Now, you definitely got that right. So what about this, Hal? What if the values go down in my property? Does the reverse mortgage company take away my access to my funds?
Not at all. So the happiest people on the block were the people that had a reverse mortgage during that mortgage meltdown, because most of these are FHA insured. So the amount that was promised to you, whether it's a line of credit, whether you were receiving payments, whether you took a lump sum at. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, oh, sorry, the market crashed. I need some money back. That it's all protected under the FHA guidelines, under the FHA insurance. So whatever is set up from the beginning is set in place for the life of your loan. So everyone else had their HELOCs turned off and no access to their equity lines, but anybody with a reverse mortgage will not have to suffer that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a devastating time for a lot of people because a lot of people needed those HELOC loans.
Yep, myself included.
Yeah, to make ends meet. That's what was happening. So tell the listeners how they can reach you and how you can help them. I know you're going to ask them some questions. There's never a fee to meet with you. Again, she's helped a lot of my clients right here in the Treasure Valley with reverse mortgages, and she can help you also. But education, knowledge is power, and she's going to give you that. So let the listeners know how they can reach you.
Yeah, you can call me at 208-600-1787. That's 208-600-1787. You can go to my website, ilovereverse.com. You can take a look at some podcasts. You can review, facts and fiction and all of that, all of the information that you'll need. There's some great senior resources. You can shoot me an email, Angela@reverseloansolutions.com.
Yeah, somebody asked me this a while back, and I always forget to ask you this. How long does it take from start to finish to get a reverse mortgage to where it's completed, it's ended, and it's funded?
So most times it depends on the borrower. So I've had ones that flew through the system in 30 days. I've had others that have had title issues or property issues, and those will take longer. But I often quote people about 45 to 60 days, trying to account for some of that. Also, in certain states, there are cooling off periods after the counseling has been done. So that kind of eats up some time there too. So when I have that conversation, I put it out there. This is what to expect, barring any additional outside influences.
One other thing that somebody had texted me on a while back and is a FICO score. Is that taken into consideration or not?
So you can qualify for a reverse mortgage a lot easier than you would for a conventional loan. One reason being is I actually got a loan for somebody who had, or actually it was a married couple, who had no FICOs. Like literally when you ran the credit report, there was 0 liabilities and 0 scores because they had paid cash for everything for the last 20 years. I was able to get them a reverse mortgage without any FICOs.
Wow.
There are also cases where if you have a little less than favorable FICO, we can still get the loan done. They might require that some taxes and insurance be, held back from the proceeds, but it's definitely something to talk about and see how we can structure that.
Okay. Always good advice. Again, it's knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen.